Good morning to everyone here. We really appreciate you being here. My name is Nnenna. I'll be your anchor. It's our second annual International Women's Conference, and with us today we have distinguished guests who will be putting us through their journeys. Our theme for this year is Choose to Challenge. Women across the world globally have been given many definitions as mothers, as women, as girl child, educationally, financially, in every sphere of life. But today, we are marking our own definition. It is set aside to appreciate the strength of the woman and the impact we're making in society. So join me to make welcome with our speakers today. Our first speaker today is Mrs. Nnenna Obeka. Please let's put our hands together for her to come on stage. Let's be clapping, she's coming on stage. Also, we have Ameena Danjuma. Let's make a warm welcome for her. It gives me great pleasure to invite this next speaker. She's an alumni of NAOMI University and is making her impact in society. Hajara, Kabeer, Abdulfatah. Please let's make a warm welcome for her. We also have with us today Mrs. Raquel Kasham Daniel. Please let's put our hands together for her. A warm welcome for them. These women are doing great and amazing things in society. I would like to invite at this juncture the Director of Student Affairs in person of Mrs. Falstad. She will be giving an open remark for this program. Thank you. Please just give her a warm welcome.
Good morning, everyone here seated. Good morning to all the women in the house and the men in our midst. It is my pleasure to welcome you all to this second annual conference to mark the International Women's Day. And before we start, I would like to welcome to the high table and highly recognize the presence of Her Excellency, the Nigerian Ambassador to Tunisia, in the person of Her Excellency Lady Alot Asari. You're welcome, ma'am. Also in our midst is Barrister Lady Ofyong Akpabio. You're welcome, ma'am. It is important to note at this junction that we are privileged to have these women in our midst this morning, because these are women who are holding their own in the society. They are making impact. They are doing many great things. These are women who are impacting lives of others in the society. I would especially also like to recognize the presence of my amiable colleague, sisters and friends in presence of Dr. Fatima Alkali of Faculty of Law, Dr. Ngozi Anadi, HOD of Department of Criminology, Barrister Fatima Momodu. You are also welcome. I thank you all for coming. It has been a tradition in NAOMI University for us to celebrate the International Women's Day. Usually we have a full hall filled to the brim with amazing women, both young and old. Unfortunately, because of COVID-19 pandemic, we cannot do it more than this. But the idea is to have these amazing women talk about their journey. The theme is choose to challenge. Choose to challenge, but also identifying invisible women who are making impact. I decided on this theme because I felt that every year, year in, year out, we celebrate women who are known, women who are recognizable. We recognize them before we know, because we know them by name or we know them by their profession, and we know them by what they do in the society. But here I have a group of women who in their own little space, in their spaces, they are impacting lives of other people. nobody is taking records. Nobody is noticing except the people that they've impacted in their lives directly. So I decided that this year, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to look for such women, even if it is one or two or three or more. Then I'll bring them to this seminar. We will listen to their stories, learn from them, and equally get the opportunity to honor them and give them the accolades that they deserve. That is why we're here. I've never been one for, if we're having intellectual and academic conference where we can present papers and all of that, it is good. But I believe that for an occasion like this, where we are celebrating womanhood, it is important for us to acknowledge those who are actually doing something to impact the lives of other people and other women. I've heard it too many times, people say, oh, women, we are the enemies of ourselves. We don't like one another. So it is high time we begin to let, at least those of us who are a bit older, let the younger ones know that they can impact in whatever space they occupy in the society. They can impact the lives of other people. They can help to raise other women up in their own little capacity. Never say, oh, I'm waiting until I become the MD, until I become the manager. No, in whatever little space you occupy, you can always impact the lives of other people. I believe that we have a lot to learn from these women as they take us through their journey. We'll learn from them and we get the opportunity to equally celebrate them. I welcome you all once again. Thank you for honoring our invitation. And I'm also proud that here on this high table, we have two alumni of this university. Is that not an indication that we're doing a great job here? Faculty of Law must be particularly happy this morning. I welcome you all once again. Thank you.
Let's put our hands together for Ms. Hajara. Thank you so much. A round of applause. We're all women here. Let's support each other. Thank you so much. Without much further ado, I would like to invite our first speaker in person of Mrs. Nnenna Obeka. She runs an NGO called the NAOMI Center for Women Empowerment and Poverty Alleviation. Her NGO utilizes financial aid schemes to empower women in farming, basically empowering them and giving them a sense of independence in the long run. Let's put our hands together for us.
Good morning, all. Wow, what a privilege to be in your midst this morning. And this morning, I'm standing on the shoulders of great women. Dr. Kali, good morning. Dr. Anadi, good morning. Mrs. Momodu, good morning. Barrister Lady of Kabeer, Reverend Dapo, good morning. I mention these great people because they too told me. I am really happy to be here with you. This morning we'll be looking at the topic, Chose to Challenge, as we celebrate the International Women's Day. This is a man's world. We keep hearing that all the time. And the greatest crime perpetuated against women in this world is the intentional, systemic, and institutional oppression of the women. Women and men are persons of equal stature and dignity before the law. There is nothing radical about this. But for ages, women have had to fight to be recognized as human beings and not properties. Thankfully, some progress has been made on that front, but ask yourself, why was it even an issue to be contented with? Just as the world was blind to the inhumanity of slavery, apartheid, and racism, through the smoke screen of institutions that normalize their practices, so also has it remained blind to the oppressive plight of the woman. In my view, it is the oldest form of discrimination that has existed, right from the tales of creation imbibed in us all from nascency to the entrenched gender roles that form the core aspects of our beings. Perhaps it is because of this that it seems alien to demand for the woman the status of a human being with equal rights and dignity. Imagine for a moment the psyche that the women who have dared to challenge must go through, asking themselves, in my quest to succeed, am I offending religion by placing myself on an equal pedestal as a human being with my male counterpart? Am I being a good citizen of my society when I challenge gender roles and expectations? Do the men we call our fathers, brothers, and sons even recognize their privileges? Or are they just as blinded by the institution of the female discrimination? Permit me to tell you a story about my mother. My mother was a beautiful wife of a great man of stature, married off at an early stage, about 15. She witnessed her partner lose his life, and with that came in the harsh realities of widowhood in our society. Swiftly stripped of wealth and stature by the patriarchal mechanisms, my mother was battered by fate and by in-laws. But she remained unbowed and unbroken. She quickly recognized that her society will not guarantee a bright future for her children and for herself and her 7 children. My mother vowed to challenge the status and the fate of many African widows. One deferred act at a time, one tough decision at a time, one sacrifice at a time, one reclaimed property here and there, one business at a time, one educated child at a time. My mother built her family up. And because of my mother, Madam Love Ekeka, who chose to challenge, I stand before you here this morning. I am an African, a woman in a continent that has been in a perpetual state of colonization in many forms, from the old religious empires to the new corporate and cultural ones. And so I do recognize the difficulties true change for equality under the law we face in our society. However, we stand on the shoulders of women who have succeeded. We stand on the shoulders of years of countless protests and demands for justice and equity. We stand on the boldness of women like Dr. Kali. We stand on the boldness of women like Her Excellency, Ambassador Alote. We stand on the boldness of women who stand to speak up. We stand on the boldness and shoulders of hard-fought legislations. When I see women who chose to excel, the Okonjo-Iwealas, the Chimamandas, the Alakidas, the Abudus, the Aisha Yosefus, and my mother, and a host of all other women, including those of us seated here today, who continually inspire the girl child, my hope is reassured. It is that hope that saw me through all my years of suffering. It is that hope that saw me through my corporate journey, through raising my children, through my journey in empowering others. There is a wise saying, if you improve the status of women, you improve the community where they live. And if you strike a woman, you strike a rock. Africans should heed these words, for it is the solution to breaking the cycle of poverty. It is with this spirit and mindset that I founded the NAOMI Center for Women Empowerment, to nurture our girl child, to educate the boy child, to treat people as human beings with equal rights and dignity, and empower women. This is a man's world. The Okonjo-Iwealas are winning. We are winning. It is still the man's world. And it has gotten away with this crime for too long, but we are beginning to resist. One difficult conversation at a time, we will take it one by one. One legislation at a time, we will be marching on. One paradigm shift at a time, we will make progress. We choose to challenge until women are given their rightful place. Thank you very much.
Resounding round of applause for Mrs. Obeka. Thank you so much, ma'am. If women can succeed despite the obstacles that are placed before us or we encounter, how much more can we achieve? All things are equal. I'd like to invite our second speaker. Her name is Hajara Kabeer Abdulfatah. She started an initiative for the girl child, especially women in science, technology, and engineering, and she'll be telling us about her journey. Let's put our hands together for her.
Thank you very much. Good morning to you all. It's a pleasure to be here. I am an alumni of Mikail University. My name is Hajara Kabeer. I'm very happy to be here amongst the very, very intelligent and inspiring ladies on the stage and those sitting amongst us today. As Hassana has introduced me, I am the founder of the Girl in STEM initiative, and my initiative is aimed at normalizing female role models in STEM. And STEM stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Maths. And we could all believe that presently in the world today, we're moving in a direction whereby the whole world is moving towards science and technology. And we can see the backlash of female students in STEM, and especially the girls we have in the north. I think from statistics, it's been said that there are about 12 million girls that are out of school. Sorry, 12 million children that are out of school, and more than half of them are girls. And that means that that is something that is very, very concerning and alarming. We need to do something about that today. So today, for this International Women's Day, we choose to challenge that. That is something that is very, very difficult, and that's something that is very disturbing. And as women, as men, this is something that we all have to come together to fight towards. The world has given women an opportunity, and you can see that today women are contributors, women are decision makers. We are making that difference. Usually I'm a very, very positive person. So despite the fact that we're all having, all the negative stereotypes that are dragging women behind, I like to see the positive side of things. We're actually seeing women that are leading. We're actually seeing women that are at the forefront of a lot of technology and sciences as well as engineering. We're seeing women coming out today to fight for what is good and to fight for what is right. My colleague, Mrs. Nnenna, that has spoken now, has already been giving us examples of a lot of women. And another important point we should note is the fact that we have seen how incredibly well women have done, especially during this time of the COVID pandemic. We've seen how women leaders around the world have, stepped to the front and fought the virus much more compared to their male counterparts. We've seen how leaders from countries like Iceland and Finland have dealt with the virus and captured it and kept it aside. And they've moved way forward in the world today. And we've also seen the way the countries where the men are leading, how there's just zero or perhaps very little advancement in that aspect. So I think that's something that we should actually be happy about, to see that women are actually doing it and their difference is being seen as something significant. Another thing we need to understand is that when women succeed, all of us succeed. And this goes back to right from the beginning as parents. A mother brings up a child. We could hear the story of Mrs. Nnenna's mother. She brought them up. She was a strong woman, and I'm sure all our mothers here were strong women. And we could see the way they brought us up, some without having anything. Some of them, our fathers died and left them, to start everything from the scratch. While some of them were even privileged to have husbands and fathers that supported them to reach to their potentials. So all of these things are very important. And today, I would like to share a very important quote with you today that I really value and keep close to my heart, because I feel like every woman should know this and should keep it very close to her heart. And the quote goes this way: that our will shall shape the future. Whether we fail or we succeed shall be no one else's doing but our own. We are the first, we can clear on any obstacle that is before us, or we can be lost in our maze. This is our choice and this is our responsibility. Win or lose, only we hold the key to our destiny. And this brings me to, I think, the focal discussion that I have today, that is mainly for the students here. As I introduced myself, I was also a student of this university and I graduated with a first class degree in petroleum and gas engineering. And I think the first thing that helped me to be able to achieve this path is the fact that I was able to figure out my goal at a very early stage of my studies. And I think that was the fact that I was able to get mentors, I was able to know where I wanted to head in life, and I was able to also know what my true north is. And it is important again for us to understand what the concept of true north is. And that is for you to be able to identify your internal compass. What exactly guides you in life? What is your most important value in life? What is it that you wake up to every morning? What is it that you value very well in your life? What are your life experiences? What are your life crumbles? What exactly is your life journey? What do you want to look back, many years later? And, what legacy do you want to leave behind? So these all are what defines your true north. And by the time you're able to, bring that to the table, you're able to figure them out and jot them down. I think that would be the first step to becoming a woman of excellence for you. And that would be the first step as well of you becoming somebody that is very significant, especially in terms of if you're studying the STEM courses or subjects. And something that I also wanted to talk about today is the fact that as women, there is what we call the glass ceiling. And I like to think of this glass ceiling as an invisible barrier that women tend to put for themselves. And I'm not also exempted. All of us are not exempted because in a way, it's also like a bias that we just put in our head. And this particular glass ceiling has prevented a lot of women from reaching certain goals in life, especially when it comes to leadership positions. You find out that a woman feels like, okay, just because, for us, the northern women, we feel like, okay, because you're going to get married someday, you're going to have kids, you're going to do this, so you're afraid to get to a certain level of position at work, or a certain level in life that you feel maybe it's going to affect that other aspect or part of your life, and then you'll not be able to, and then that will also allow you to, kind of like slow down and not get to your potential. I think that's what a lot of people do, and that's just an example, by the way. It could be anything that you might choose to put in your mind that would stop you or prevent you from getting to that aspect, and you find out that that's when you see in a company, all the people in the leadership positions are men. And even if there is a woman, it might just be one or two of them. And that's not what we're actually looking at. And from the statistics of this year's International Women's Day, we heard that it's going to take almost 100 years before we could reach that gender equality. And I don't think that's a very realistic number of years. And from what we can see right now, we're actually getting there, but we have to come together, we have to collaborate, and it's also important for us to be able to appreciate the men that are a part of this conversation, because there are men among us today, like the two men I'm looking at over here, they are a part of this conversation, they have the openness and the willingness to support female careers, and I think that's something to always look back and appreciate from the men. Just recently, the Dr. Nkonjo Iweala's success, everybody was happy about that. But I think for me, what I actually thought was, how could this lady at this age get to this position in life, to head the World Trade Bank? That is something extremely huge. And I'm sure she has a man in her life. So what exactly was the role that that man played in her life? And I think it's something for us to sit back and think about it. In my initiative, I usually focus on girls a lot, but in most schools that we go to today, there are both girls and boys. So what I normally do is that, even though I'm trying to, put the girls on the right track, choose them careers, do this and that, I also try to encourage the boys to give them that notion and also mindset that at this younger age have the openness and the capacity and ability to support women's careers, because it is important for us to be able to take it back to basics. And the problem that we have in the world is that a lot of this has been happening right from home. A girl and a boy would eat in the house and they would expect the girl to pick up the plate and take it to the kitchen. So all of these things are little things that we do, like right from the basics, that actually make the world the way it is today. So I think for us to be able to effect that, we have to take it back to basics. So if we have children at home, if we have little ones, it's important for us to show them how equal the two of them are, because all the opportunities that they will get is actually the same. If you show them that, I think that will be one of the ways to solve the problems that we have today, and that is something we should also choose to challenge in this year's International Women's Day. And lastly, I wanted to talk to us about, for the student as well, I forgot to mention that it is also important for you to also determine your small steps to your big future. As I told you earlier on, if you are able to identify what your true north is, if you are able to identify what your mission and visions are in life, then I think you're on the right way and the right path to success. And the sky is just going to be, not even your limit, but perhaps the universe is going to be your starting point. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Amma. A round of applause for her. I'd like to quote a one-time First Lady of the United States, Michelle Obama, and she says, "There's no limit to what we can achieve as women, regardless of what we go through or the status quo," just like Amma has taken her time to explain to us. At this time, I'd like to invite our third speaker. Her name is Mrs. Raquel, I beg your pardon, Kasham Daniel. Let's give a warm round of applause.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, I know it's difficult to see that I'm smiling. I'm legit, I'm smiling because of the face mask. I'm really smiling, like really smiling. So my name is Raquel, and the interesting thing about me is I'm a storyteller. I'm a storyteller, and I could prepare a very impressive slide today to just wow you all, but I just thought, you know what, it's International Women's Day, and it's a very important month for us as women. And as young women, if I had the opportunity to hear women speak to me when I was in university like this, I think that have gone a long way to help me. So I felt the need to share my story, because like I said, I'm a storyteller, and I feel stories are very powerful, and you will connect with it better if I use my story instead. So I think I'll just start. But the first thing I hear people say when I introduce myself is to say, "Is she Nigerian?" Yes, I'm Nigerian, and my topic today is choosing to challenge against all odds. The reason why I used against all odds is because, like I said, I'm a storyteller, and even though this might be a bit of a privileged school, there might be people here who are probably here on scholarships, who, even if you're paying your way through school, things might not be rosy all the time. So that when you now hit a point in your life when you have to push forward, remember that you have to challenge whatever circumstance that is coming your way against all odds, all. So I'm going to say who I am quickly. First, I said I'm Nigerian. I studied education from the University of Lagos, and this is my bio. The most important thing I think on this slide is I launched my book a couple of days ago, I think 48 hours ago, my third book, which is the last thing on the slide. So when this thing was sent, it wasn't launched, so I think that's how you look. It has unveiling, but the book is already launched. I think that's the most important thing on this slide today. But I'm staying here for a while because when people see a bio like this, they just say, "Oh, this person has arrived." But not many people can say how you got here. It wasn't a smooth sail at all. Currently, I run Beyond the Classroom Foundation, and I just decided to put a few of our projects here where we renovated a school in Lagos. We enrolled 106 children in the IDP camps back to school 2 Septembers ago, and we do the Project Red Robots, which is providing sanitary towels to girls who can't afford it. Then our response to COVID, we provided educational intervention workbooks for children who can't access technology and are home, so we had them use workbooks. And then we provided full reliefs for the IDPs. And the most important for us at this time is that we realized that children were not aware of COVID-19. And so I wrote a book, There's a New Virus in Town, which we used to teach children in poor communities. So these are just pictures of some of the projects that we do at Beyond the Classroom. And I'll explain why I show these pictures, because like I said earlier, I'm leading you somewhere with a story. Because against all odds, as women, we need to realize that our life will not be easy. It won't be easy. Because this morning, for instance, I had to do a lot of things. I had to get here. There was no way to drive. My husband had to take a time off work. Thank you so much, honey, for coming. By the way, my husband is right here to make sure I get here. You know, because there was no one to bring me and stuff like that. So there will be those challenges, but we have to surmount them. And our COVID-19 awareness. So what are the odds? And I'll talk about my story quickly. First, I'm from Kaduna South, minority tribe in Nigeria. When they say you should list the first 30 tribes in Nigeria, you will not call Kataf, trust me. Minority, like minor. So that is an odd, right? The second thing is I'm female. And here's something very unique. No one in my family ever went past secondary school. That's something to realize and to remember. No one. I'm the first to go past secondary school. In fact, recently I was talking to my uncle. My uncle said, oh, he didn't even finish the secondary school. He just went to SS2. Kind of, you know, like he didn't really graduate. So if you put it together, no one and no female ever. My father was a police officer. Odds. Because of course I had to live in the barracks. Right? My uncle wanted to marry me when I was 16. And here's why. My father died when I was 16. So my uncle said, you know what? This Raquel, there's no need to keep you. Your brothers are behind you. There are 3 of them. They need to go to school. So instead of let them drop out of school, we can marry you off and put them in school. The other thing on the slide there, which we feel like, oh, why did she do that? Is because I really wanted to get an education. When I was 9, my dad said to me, no one in our family has ever gone beyond secondary school. I want you to be the first. Because if you can do that, others will. My father was one of the first women promoters that I've ever met. If I didn't know there was anything like that until now. And I look back and I say, my father was a female promoter. Because he believed that I could. But today he's not here to see that I did. And so I ran away. And see here where I ended up. I lived in the street in Lagos State for almost 2 years, about 19 months. Because I didn't want to be married. In those times, I remember I was living on the street, I wrote JAM. I passed JAM. I could get admission into school. But there was no way I could go to school. But I was still trying to read, even while I was living on the street. I was working when I was there. There are days when I went on without food and sanitary pads. If you notice, I focus on sanitary hygiene for girls. That's because I know what it means not to have any. And how uncomfortable it is to use things like newspaper and mattress foam. It's very uncomfortable. To escape joining commercial sex workers, I became a cleaner. So I told them, you know what guys, I can clean the brothel. I'll do all what you want to do, but I won't join prostitution. So I was the cleaner. And when I say cleaner, I believe everyone is adult, but do you know what it means to clean a brothel? You pick up all the things after they have entertained their customers. And that's where I lived. So I lived in a place where they use plants to separate their rooms, so I constantly listen to all the things that they do. If I have to sleep, that's if I can even sleep. So, while living on the street, I had 1 pair of jeans and 2 t-shirts. I washed my jeans once in a few months. Then I washed my jeans, I was still up all through the night, so somebody will not steal it. But at least the top I can alternate and wash it. But the jeans, I won't forget, I'll stay up till the next morning. With the day I wash it, because when it's brush, you brush it. But the day I wash it, I'll stay up night. That's how bad it was. These are the odds. Some of the drug dealers I lived with, today I see them, they've all repented. But when I was living on the street, some of them sold their kidneys just to make money. They're all into wire transfer, fraud, all sort of things. But when I was on the street, I recalled, I kept telling myself that these are the odds for me, but I want to get an education. There's no need to join them to do what without deterring from getting an education later in life. And then I saw some of my friends on the street get killed with rituals. They were used for rituals. Some of them would say, oh, we found her somewhere in Obalende, they cut off her breast. And I'm God, my God. The girl is gone. Living on that same street I was living, all of us. But because of the kind of lifestyle we were living, we lost a lot of them. I escaped rape 4 times. I have a scar on my hand here. It's like something that always reminds me, like a gift to me. I feel just remind me that, I was saved from rape. When I was 19, and this all happened between my 16th and 19th birthday, by the way. So now I'm 19, my mom died, and she left me with 2 adolescent boys and a 6-year-old. But that's what happened. I chose to challenge the status quo in my family. I just summarized, that was like a huge summary. That was the fastest summary I've ever given of the story. It's the summary of what I had to go through, trying to raise my brothers after my mom died. An entirely different story for another day. But I chose to challenge the status quo in my family against all odds. I started my business with 200 naira. I started making sobo when I was on the street. I bought a mudu of sobo, sugar, and I got water from the well. I boiled it, and I bought the plastic bottles, so I didn't have to pay for those. So when people say to me, I don't have money to start a business, I just smile. You don't have the will to start a business, a different thing entirely. If you have the will, you do it. Whatever you have the will to do, you will do. So I took responsibility for 3 boys at 19. And I said here, I always wrote JAM, and I passed my JAM 4 times. I realized when I got to University of Lagos that each time I put in the line, they give me admission, but I never came. I didn't even realize that I've always passed, and my name was always on the list. It was the 5th time I got into Unilag that I accepted the admission. I wrote post-UM and I went to school. And, well, I have hopes that one day I'll get a master's degree and, of course, a PhD. I know I will. Abi? Yeah. Honey, don't you think it's possible? I know my husband is responsible. He knows I want to, and I know he will help. So I started to teach teenage girls about life and my experiences in 2019, and I started my non-profit in 2011 by simply giving children socks and girls sanitary pads to allow them to stay in school, because I was very passionate about education. Because I saw what education did to me. Just being in Unilag, my perspective changed. In fact, walking into the gate of a university, my mind was blown. Like I just became a different person that day. I just realized that if we can get more people to just even have the opportunity to step into school, just even try. And so I became very passionate about that. And these are the things that I became first at because I chose to challenge the status quo in my family. First to get a degree, first to get on TV, first to get on radio, first to get on newspaper, first to step outside the shores of Nigeria. And the list goes on. And the first female to get married without getting pregnant first. That's very important to me. The list goes on. And I'm calling with the first and the first and the first and the first things. I'm the first of many things in my family. And I said to myself, I don't want to be the last. And that's why I do what I do. And it's not about my family, it's about other girls. So it doesn't have to come from my family. Yeah, it can be other people. So here's what I think. You can win against all odds. The story might not be meant for you today, my story might not be meant for you today, but it might be for somebody else. So when you see somebody that is struggling and wants to give in, there's a woman who wants to give up, there's a woman, tell her, just Google Raquel Daniel. When you read her story, be inspired and stay on, because if she could, you can. That's all. If you can't tell her, you just tell her, look, Raquel. If you can't find Raquel, I mean, you will see my name. Even Google Kasham, you'll find it. Just Google it. Read her story and be inspired and stay on. Because if you could, you can. That's all. That's the only assignment I'm giving everybody here. If you can't do anything, you don't have the words of encouragement for anybody, just tell them, take my phone, let me Google, please help me read. That's all. Because when I walk out of here and I remove my clothes, you see all the scars in my body. You don't see them because I'm wearing makeup, I'm wearing clothes, I'm wearing that. I carry them gracefully. So many. And so I look around and I think I missed a few of them. I said, people read all these things that you receive and they say to you, how did you get so many awards? But when I started my work, it wasn't because of awards. I didn't even know what they were. In fact, at those years, when people said they want to nominate people, I was like, please don't nominate me for anything, I'm doing God's work. I used to reject them. Because I didn't even realize the importance of those things to my work, and sometimes in my life, I didn't remember that. I didn't realize that with recognition comes exposure, with exposure comes funding for my work. I didn't see that process. So for a very long time, I couldn't nominate me for stuff. I said, no, I don't want it. But this is where I am right now. Because I wrote a book on COVID for children, I got the Martin Luther King Award. Somebody has given me Ameena. So in a pandemic, I wrote 3 books. So there's nothing that is impossible for us as women, even with a baby and a husband to cater for. Because, yeah, they're also babies. And I have here 3, all written from between March and now, released in a pandemic. I didn't say, oh, there's a pandemic, I can't do it. Let's wait after the pandemic, we can now do book. There's no book launch. Maybe one day we'll do a book launch, but there's no need to do anything. Right now, against all odds, just release the book on Instagram and let's move on. And in 48 hours, I sold over 100 copies of the book. Because just let it go, just let it go. And Paul donated and said, go and give it to girls who can afford the hygiene book. So 5 things to remember. Stay true to your values. And I'm glad that our guest speaker also mentioned it. Choose your circle of friends very carefully. Women are here. Be courageous and follow your dreams. Be brave and learn to say no. I've said no too many times, I can't even count. Don't be the yes, yes, yes to everybody kind of girl. Be the yes to your dream kind of girl. Not to just anything, not to distraction. No, it's very difficult for us to say as women because we are naturally pleasers, we are natural, so we want to please people. So please learn to say no to distractions. So let's go and hang out. Most of the things I do right now and the books I wrote, I'm cleaning them up because I wrote them when I was single. So learn to say no to your distractions. And it's never too late to start or start over. Because I say start or start over because some people have not even started. And some people have started and they've given up, but you can start over. And it's never too late. When I got into university, I was the oldest in my department. It was supposed to be a bad thing, but you know what it was? It was a great and good opportunity to mentor everyone. Everyone was coming around me, running around me because they were saying, how come you know so much? I said, because I'm older than all of you. Because y'all are 16, 17. I'm 23, I'm almost 24, and they're like, wow. At 20, 24, they all graduated and they have done NYC, right? So all of them were running around me. So I always had students, so I always had volunteers in my work. And they were loyal to me because they knew that I would tell them the truth. Because, see, I've been there. This place you are, I've been there. So they could listen to me because I'm right there in class with them. What they would probably not tell their parents. So it was a blessing for me. What I did was a curse. And so I'm going to the end of my slide. And I hope that I asked them. I wanted to say, if you have any question, but of course, it's usual. But then today, as we celebrate International Women's Day, I want to encourage us to choose to challenge the adversity in our lives, anything in your life, anything that stops you from achieving your goal. Choose today that I will challenge you. Because like I posted on my WhatsApp status a couple of hours ago, I said, I choose to challenge me. Because I am the person that will stop me from becoming who I want to be. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Raquel. I understand you're busy and you're dashing from somewhere, so I'll just make this happen. And Hajara, Abdulfatah. This is an award of appreciation presented to you at the NAOMI University. It's a recognition of your work and all the things you're doing. Thank you very much. Let's dance together as we start takes our seat. Thank you very much. We'd like to invite our final speaker. She came in a bit late, but we're glad she's here in person of Ameena Danjuma. She has an initiative called the Bint Mikail, who are into provision of water across communities in Nigeria. Let's give her a warm welcome.
Good afternoon. My name is Ameena. I'm from Bauchi State. Actually, this foundation started out of a mere WhatsApp group. We have a group out of passion, kitchen, so where we share ideas, recipes, and lots more. So
one of our members suggested, why don't we contribute towards some of us that are vulnerable, that don't have a meal during Ramadan. I said, okay, bring the admin. I said, fine. So we were able to raise at least 100,000 or so. So we distributed it. We had a representative from each state. Each representative was given about 100,000, 10,000, sorry. Like that's 10 states, 10,000 each for every member. The member will go and buy food stuff, snap, and send to us. And then they'll snap the beneficiaries with their vote of thanks. So one of the beneficiaries said, please, if you can, kindly help us with water. We are suffering. So it get to us. We still contributed amongst us, and we were able to dig one well for them. That was in Kano, one of the villages in Tudumota. They were so happy, and people were touched from the videos that said, you know how social media is. So someone again wanted to sponsor the well. So we went to another village in the same Kano. I think we sponsored about 3 wells then. That was during Ramadan 2018. So someone came again and said, this shouldn't be done just during Ramadan. Why not spread it? Let's do this since the communities are suffering to get basic necessity. I said, okay, fine. I'll just post it on my WhatsApp status. I'll say, okay, our representative, please find a place where people want water. You do the job, you find it, you send estimate, you make sure the work is done, and we sponsor it. Out of it, someone will just say, okay, how much is the estimate? I'll send it to them. The person will send, actually not in my account. We had a treasurer, because you know how people are. You think you just want that money for yourself. Okay, fine. We did that, and alhamdulillah, we were able to sponsor 5 wells in Kano, 2 in Jigawa, 1 in Mina. We are having, again, Kano is a very big state that has a lot of rich people and a lot of poor people, and people are suffering. So there was a video that was sent to me. They were suffering. I think this is our this is one of the projects that was unsuccessful, because the representative called me yesterday. He said, and I think we gave them about 200,000, and then they said they can't find water. Blah blah. I said, okay, fine. The same representative said, why not? We have already bought a lot from Bobo repair items, but then the project is unsuccessful. And then ahead we had in Mani, Katsina, like we did 3 wells there. So it's just, this foundation started out of passion. We are in the process of registration. Our Instagram handle is Bint_Mikail _charity foundation. You can find things there, and if you want to sponsor a well or you want more information, you can contact me. This is something that we can do as women, not just, it's not government. You can do something out of passion. We are blessed. I know we can make impact. We are mothers. We know how to make people, with just mere status, you can just share, and then carelessly you just see how people. There was a time I just shared a vote of thanks of the villagers, the way they were happy, they were soliciting just a basic water. You need to see how happy they were. Some of the children don't go to school because they have to walk a lot of kilometers to get this water. And then you just begin, you spend 70,000 on super works, like your jewelry, and I'm telling you, this support, we did it for 15,000, as little as 15,000, and some as much as 200,000. That was the most expensive well. So how much do you buy your superwash? Superwash is about 70,000. You can remove like 10,000, and if this one brings, even if it is 500 naira, we always say nothing is small and nothing is too big. You see some people just give 100, some 10, some 5, some 2,000, some 1,000. But when we combine it, you just see. And if we're in the middle of a project, we just find one fund like this, and then again, another one will come up. That's how we keep sponsoring. No amount is small and no amount is big. That's what we always see. Alhamdulillah, we have made impact in a lot of society. I don't have much to say because I'm not prepared. I'm from a meeting soon. I just had to rush here. So I found a piece that is inspiring. I don't know if it will inspire you too. Which reads, work for a cause, not for applause. Live life to express, not to impress. Don't strive to make your presence noticed, just make your absence felt. In life, be stubborn about your goals and flexible in your method. Thank you very much. 080-3363-7304. My name is Ameena Danjuma. I work in Shippers Council as an ICT officer. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to present.
Thank you so much, Ms. Ameena. Let's put a sounding round of applause for her for doing such great work. There's a saying that they say water is life, so if she's supplying water, she's giving life. Let's give her a round of applause for all the beautiful women on stage who are impacting society in their own corners. Without much ado, we'd like to go to the award presentation. Please join me to welcome Dr. Alkali, Fatima Alkali of the Law Faculty, to make a presentation to Mrs. Obeka, Nnenna Obeka. A resounding round of applause.
Mrs. Nnenna Obeka, this is an award of appreciation presented to you as a participant at the second Nile University of Nigeria International Women's Conference. Thank you so much for coming and contributing enormously. We're very proud of you.
I'm standing round of applause for her. Let's thank. Let's put her together with Raquel, please. A resounding round of applause. I'd like to invite Dr. Ngozi Anani of the HOD of Criminology to make a presentation to Ameena Danjuma. Let's put our hands together for her. She makes her way on stage.
This is for you, Ameena Danjuma. It's an award of appreciation presented to you by Nile University as a participant at the second Nile University of Nigerian International Women's Conference. Thank you very much.
A standing round of applause for her. Thank you. It gives me great pleasure to invite the Director of Student Affairs, Mrs. Fauzia, to make this next presentation to Mrs. Raquel Daniel.
That is presented to you by Nile University of Nigeria in recognition of all the good work that you're doing and impacting young people in the society, and for participating in this second conference to celebrate the International Women's Day. Thank you very much.
So I would like to call Dr. Kani to give us her closing speech and remark to end this program. Business clap for her. She makes her way up stage now.
Your Excellency, the Ambassador, the convener of the program, my friend, Mrs. Foster, who is always showing up and doing amazing things for Nile University, my colleagues, our students, wonderful women and wonderful men in our midst. Happy International Women's Day. My name is Fatima Alkali. I'm an associate professor of international humanitarian law, working at Nile University. This is my 20th year in the academic setting. And I'm so happy today. What I heard today, in fact, Nnenna was my student. I supervised her project, so I know her very well. But I don't know about her foundation. Thank you so much. And Raquel, wow. What a life. You need to write your autobiography. A lot to learn from. Ameena Danjuma providing the most important thing in life, water. I planned to go to the market today after this to buy something. Now I'm thinking twice. So be sure that we will just keep your presence online very active. We'll support you. We'll make a lot of noise about it. Good noise, joyful noise. So I'm here to give the closing remarks, and I would like to, I know I'm not a guest speaker, but since I'm here, I want to express my own message to the young women, and even men who are listening. And I want to draw from an experience I had just last Saturday when I had a mentorship, or is it mentoring session in my office, because I'm in a mentorship program where I have some mentees from a different university and one from this university. It's a program in collaboration with an organization abroad. So I asked these young people, I said to them, I'm not going to start giving you motivational talks thinking I know what is in your mind. So here I am. I'm looking at my 50s now, so I'm quite much older than you, and I have been 20 years, more than 20 years, because I practiced as a lawyer before I started teaching. So I've been working for over 20 years. So just ask me questions. Maybe you'll learn from my answers. And then the first one, the question she asked me was, one of the questions was, how have you managed with all the discrimination against women, with all the difficulties and challenges? How have you managed to scale through successfully? That was the question she asked me. The other one was, I asked her about herself, and she was going to say something good, I'm good at, but then she stopped. And then I said, go on. She said that it's a mark of pride to say that you are good at something. And I said, no. If you are good at something and you are arrogant about it, then it is a mark of bad pride. There's good pride. Now that's one thing. To answer the first female, I said, what challenges and limitations have you faced in your life? And she's quite a young lady, right? She's still in school. She said, nothing, you know. I said, what challenges do you have in your life? She said, her life is actually quite balanced. I said, so where did you get the idea of challenges and limitations? I'm not saying that they are not, of course. I mean, you chased me out of this hall and to say that women are not facing challenges. But my answer to her was quite astonishing to her and the rest. I said, do you know that in my 20 years of being in the university, I don't have a single incident or experience to show that I was discriminated against because I'm a woman. Rather, because I was in the public university for 17 years before coming here, University of Abuja, I was hardworking, and this statement that the reward for hard work is more hard work, that was what paid off for me. They were always giving me more work, pushing me to conferences, workshops. In fact, my team wanted to send me to Switzerland at one time to attend a conference of professors that he was invited to. I said, no, sir, they want to say professor, not one tiny girl. So what am I telling you? All right? It's true that there are challenges and limitations that women face. But there's also the other side. There's also support for women, and there are men and women who enable. My father and my mother never told me, when I was growing up, you are a girl. They never put me in a box. They never said, your role in life is to be a wife and a mother, to stay in the kitchen and stuff like that. No. But I know that these things, some women face that. All right? But there are also, there's also the other side of it. And the only thing that, besides having a very privileged life, my parents were both in the academics. In fact, they became professors, and that, to me, was my example. My mom, since I knew her, she was working into the night typing when they were using this manual typewriter, right? So she was my example. And yes, so they never, I looked at them and I saw that she could do it. She was having children, she was a wife, she was a mother, she was a teacher, she was going to the social event. She did, she said she suffered anyway because she had to do so many things, all right? But it is possible. The only thing I did, having been so privileged, was that I showed up and I kept showing up and I spoke out. Maybe it's I said I may look mild, but no one can bully me. Yes, if there's any, and it's not because of being a woman. If anybody has even ever tried, I know I look very big now, but I used to be very small. If anybody had tried, I wouldn't even have felt it was because of my gender, maybe because of my size. But I was always, nobody could ever really bully me. And so I told them, you know, it's okay as a woman to show up, to speak out, to claim what is yours. You don't have to fight. Just claim what is yours. And let's write new stories. Many things have changed. During my mother's, in the 80s, that feminism, you know, the feminism that has done so many good things, that has brought us to where we are today. It was really hot in the 80s, and men were really getting it bad. Oh, men were really the enemies then. We had a very bad impression of men. You know, but I had to really think my own thoughts. I looked at the men around me, my father, my teachers, my brothers, and all of that, and they were good to me. Nobody belittled me. So I know that where we have some men that are abusive, and even women who are abusive, we also have men that are supportive. So keep showing up, speaking out, claiming your rights. You can do it. We have Kamala Harris today. We have Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, Ameena Mohammed, Ms. Fausat, me, the ambassador. All right, so we are going to have, I don't know your names, but I know that we are going to have all of you in the future that are going to be much bigger than us, than the Iwealas and the Ameena Mohammeds and the Fatima Al-Khadis. All right? Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ma. Please let's put a round of applause for her. Thank you so very much. It's been a great pleasure having you attend our program and be with us. Let's put our together for our guests, invited guests, as they make their way off the stage. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for attending our programs. We pray that as you go your different ways, you continue to choose to challenge this status quo. Thank you.